before we go to the final one. I know you like this boy, João Pedro. Now, speaking of clubs that do sell for a pretty penny, we're talking Brighton. We're talking Tony Bloom. We know how good these are in the business. However, everyone is going to be astonished beyond belief if the same 6 attackers that are at Liverpool now season. So everyone's expected, and this is a player that a lot of people know has been linked with Liverpool quite heavily. Do the stats and the link?
Yeah, I mean, this lad's certainly taken the eye of a lot of players. He's only played 1,000 minutes this season, though, in the Premier League. So, yeah, something to be aware of. He's 2.8 and 0.8 XG. If we just have a look at how he's done, I think Brighton, if I'm correct, the goal, shot and creating action. So he's been at Brighton a couple of years. There's the stories he was at Watford, wasn't he? And he was learning how to be kicked effectively. That's no offense to any Watford fans watching. Good to see you. But yeah, it's good sometimes to learn those trades. So what have we got here? Shot creating actions per 90. He was in the Championship. He was getting about 3.6. First time in the Premier League, 4. But he didn't play any 22.90, so that's pretty good. And it just dropped off, so he's just below 3. So it's a whole shot creating action less this season. In terms of goal creating actions, he's actually increased that up from 0.48 to 0.52. Not a lot, but he's nudging it along. So that's an improvement actually over his seasons. So as the difficulty level of the league's gone up, he's actually increased his goal creating actions, which is what you want to see. That's not something you like, oh no, I don't want to see that. That's exactly what you want to see. Anything else to look at in terms of what is his shot volume? Just have a quick look for that. Shooting, total shots. So he's at 2 shots a game at the moment, and he was at 3 last year, 2.6. So it's a drop off a little bit, but maybe that can return up. It depends where we are. Shots on target about the same. So points around 0.8 is probably where he's at per 90. So not bad. I would suggest he's probably not. He's not an out and out, is he? He's not he's not a top. I know Brighton sometimes play him there, but he's not quite. He's more. I think transfer committee pod when they did it said he's more of a 10. 10 if you like, the players are 9, a bit like Bobby. Yeah. It's not Bobby, but I'm just saying. So he's got 2 profiles, which is always interesting. Because we're talking about him as a forward, okay, so we'll just look at him at that forward profile, then that changes things a lot. If you look at him compared to forwards, defensively, tackles and interceptions. So that suggests that he does a bit of the Diaz Nunes stuff of tackling you, but he also does a bit of the movement, blocking, passing lanes, and intercepting the ball. So he's 90% percentile for interceptions and 84% percentile for tackles. So that's pretty good, for a forward, considering we're looking at the youngster last night, and he wasn't anywhere near that for those. So that's not bad. If we're going to play him there, even if he's dropping in, helping out in that 10 area, particularly our shape is that U with the 2 dropping in, that's not a bad attribute to have. Now, what does he do in between the boxes? And this is a lot to like about this lad. All right. Yeah. This is passing and carrying. Typically when we do these, we say, well, this guy's carrying the ball. This guy's a passer. This guy is doing both out of all the metrics here. The only one that isn't in the 90th percentile is progressive passes received. All right. Which again, is still 85th. I mean, it's still better than the previous lad. So it's just, that shows you where the position on the pitch he can be. So if he's playing high, he's not going to get as many, but he's still receiving a good amount. So, and there's not really a big difference between progressive carries 94 percentile, progressive passes 93rd. Well, they're both, however you're trying to use the ball, you're moving it closer to goal by 20%. So this is a good place to be. Shot creating actions 86 percentile. That's very good. What exception? Yeah, high 80s, 3.2 a game. He's creating an opportunity for us to take a shot in 3.2 times a game. 3.2, sorry, a game. Non-penalty XG is on the low side for a forward. Yeah, his shots total again. I said it earlier on. He's only taken 2.6, and that's dropped off. He was at 3 last year. It's come down a whole shot a game, so he's in at 56 percentile. So Yeah, but his assist 90th, he's expected assist 85th percentile. But yeah, I think there's probably midnight there. He's a good player in I wouldn't say Brighton were a terrible team, but they could potentially see him taking up positions that would you get higher quality opportunities to create for us in the final third. And there's been criticism in the past of some of our forwards where Mo has created an opportunity and the player has been in the wrong place, not but the ball played from Mo was perfect. It's just the guy didn't make the run, so it doesn't look great for stats. It's not his fault. So comparison just for Jota, he's not quite where you'd expect, but then Jota's more of a 9 than a creative type. So, but it's not bad. Yeah. It's just not. It's coming along. If we let's look at where he's picking the ball up. So where's he performing for Brighton? It's just a game I picked up for Brighton. But this is where the comment there, are they a poor side? So we're used to passing networks. They have a lot of volume, great pitches, all of these kind of things. But here he's not well linked. It's not a great structure. So it's quite impressive in those elements that he's actually creating the output. He is in roughly the areas we'd expect our 9 to be in, which is in that double 10 area. So that's something to be pleased about. And he's actually creating, almost 10 passes every 15 minutes for Brighton. Not bad. And he's got 6 or 7 passes in the areas that we'd want him to be in, which is half spaces and zone 14. So, yeah, I think that's some good attributes there. We look at off the ball, which is often where your likes of Bobby, if you were going to go that way, made his mark. Yeah. And in the areas where you'd be expecting him, he's 7% there, which is higher than the left and the right. So that's good to see. Brighton kind of typically play a bit of a medium block, if you like. So, but he still operates and does his fair share of the front three defensive action. So, yeah, I'd say there's some bits I like. I do particularly like, as I said, I think there's a lot to like about his ability to create. So if he was part of puzzles where they were changing the wingers, I don't know, if you were changing slightly the dynamic of the front three, then you could see why you'd want a creative player in the centre. Because as we said last night, Jota's not great at build-up. He's brilliant in the box. He does your hustle and bustle, wins the ball, but he's not great in terms of their creation. So this could be an interesting alternative to that. But he's not going to be cheap, is he?
Not going to be cheap for 1 second. I mean, a contract till 2028, and we have to remember, if we do go in for this guy, we are negotiating with Brighton and Tony Bloom. So yeah, that is going to be a nightmare to start with, and we know you're not going to get any favourable payment terms. And I did want to ask you, Bart, it's interesting that these two names have come on the block. We looked at Zimas last night, and very much we could see the traits of Jota and Nunes in Zimas. You could see he's a number 9. If it was to be Pedro and the links do get stronger, is that almost telling you, like a bit like the transfer committee maybe mentioned, closer, and it's wrong to compare him directly, but closer to Bobby, i.e. looking at a different type of forward, having that variety more than anything?
Yeah, 100%. So that's a comparison there I put on screen of Pedro and Zimas, and they're almost peaking in the opposite areas of each other, if you get what I mean. So, I would. It seems so. If you link that also to the last guy, like Gittins, who's a different type of profile, if he actually is going to be a bit like Mane, and you're linking in with someone like Pedro, then you could start to see a bit of a rebuild of the classic front three we had, right? Which was the false nine dropping in and 2 wingers who would wide forwards who would put their effort in, but fundamentally would get you the goals. That would make sense to me. If we're going for more of a Zimas profile, then it would suggest that you need a bit more out of both wingers in terms of creativity to give Zimas the chances to use his high shot volume and his finishing ability. Yeah. The only thing to note with Zimas is he's got very low career numbers, all right? I know people are getting really excited about him, and there is a lot to like about him, but he hasn't played a lot of minutes. Whereas you look at someone like Pedro, he's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. His minutes have gone up, each season. He's hit around 1,500 minutes, apart from one season, first season in the Premier League with Watford, where he only played 25. Probably he was only a kid when he came over. But, he's played a substantial amount of minutes. Given he's on just over 1,000 after 14 match starts, he's probably on course to break his career high in terms of minutes played. So he's on the right trajectory towards minutes. But given that, you are going to pay a bit more of a premium for someone who's played that number of minutes in the Premier League and has got that kind of profile attacking. Whereas if you take a punt is a little bit harsh, but if you take a bit more of a risk, shall we say, with Zimas, he hasn't played a lot. The data profile's like there's something there, but the price has to be got really right. Otherwise, you're in a bit of a territory of, are you overpaying for potential? Whereas with Pedro, you might actually have, he's ready to go supernova. Whereas Zimas might not be going supernova for a couple of years.
True. And to be fair, I think you phrased it well last night, just in case anyone missed it. There's the two brackets. There are the players where we think they are very young and they've got talents. They could go on to that next level. So that's one they may target. There's a difference between the player, as you said, Bart, that's got 3 years or so data. That's where the term supernova comes in, that they're about to go up based on that sort of substantive minutes, that data sample. So, very much a different type of sign-in if it